Welcome everyone to the Dansports.tips MLB Daily Fantasy Preview. I'm just going to quickly run through what we're going to do today. The way the show will run is I will go through pitches, I'll go through the recommended stacks that you should have in your lineup to maximise your potential point scoring today, your foundation players that you should be building the foundation of your lineup upon, and some value plays that you might be able to pick up for a cheaper amount of money that will score you some points as well. I don't like to spend a lot of money on the catcher position, basically because catcher I don't think is a premium position where it's worth paying it up. You don't get the steals, you don't tend to get as much production from that position, and we like to try and target obviously pitchers with strikeouts and hitters at the top of the lineup, because by nature as the lineup recycles they get more opportunities and therefore more potential to score points for you. With that, let's get on to today's action. A quick review of yesterday's good and yesterday's bad calls. Good calls: Tyler White was 1 for 2 with a homer and 2 RBIs with a walk for Houston, the first base player that we had as I believe it was our value play. Colby Rasmus we had as value in the outfield for 3,600. He went 2 for 3. Those two were both home runs and he had 4 RBIs. Adrian Beltre, third base for us, was 4,000. He went 3 for 4 with a homer. And Vince Velasquez, our value starting pitcher, for 6,800, picked you up the win and 9 strikeouts. The Toronto stack that I put up yesterday, probably, Donaldson and Bautista was the best option, but Bautista and Encarnacion that we highlighted still went 3 for 7, 2 home runs with 4 RBIs and a walk, though obviously most of that did come from Jose Bautista. And also our San Diego stack with Matt Kemp and Will Myers. They went 5 for 11, combined for 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. You got great production from either of our stacks yesterday. As for the bad calls, Big Puppy at 4,500 was our foundation first baseman and wasn't even in the lineup yesterday. Jose Altuve that we paid up for the premium at second base, you only got 1 for 5 with a run out of him for 5,500, which isn't a great return. Again with Carlos Correa at shortstop, the same game, same team, 5,100 you paid for him. 0 for 3 with a walk is not what you're looking for with that sort of money. Our value at shortstop was Trevor Story, who only went 1 for 5, having hit a home run in every game that's thus far the season. Into that game, that wasn't really what we were wanting. And Chris Sale, our premium pitcher, for 12,100, he did pick up the win, but only 6 strikeouts, and he allowed 3 earned runs. 2 of those came off of home runs as well. That is certainly not the production that we were looking for there. We made some good calls, we made some bad calls. That's the way it goes sometimes. Your stacks today, the first stack, the premium one, is the Colorado Rockies in the outfield. Charlie Blackmon and Carlos Gonzalez, they're both 4,800. They're left-handed hitters who can hit for power. They're facing a right-handed pitcher who, let's be honest, James Shields allowed the most home runs in Major League Baseball last year, and at Coors Field that is not a stat that sits very well. Blackmon in particular has 3 home runs in his career off of James Shields, and they hit up the top of the lineup. I think 2 and 4 they'll probably hit, and that looks a good place to build your lineup there. The other one I've gone for is a little bit cheaper at Kansas City. Eric Hosmer at first base, Mike Moustakas third base. Hosmer's 4,500, Moustakas 4,000. They get to face Ricky Nolasco today. Ricky Nolasco is, let's be honest, not the best pitcher in the majors. He had a ERA over 6 last year, and he struggled when he's faced American League teams. And I think that could be a cheaper option to stack if you want to pay up for premium position players elsewhere. Start today with the pitchers that I've looked at the top end of the market. I looked at Matt Harvey, who's the top priced pitcher today, and I'm a little bit still concerned about his health after the injury he had in spring training. I've looked at Felix Hernandez as well. I've had a little bit of a concern this year and last year. Is the start of the decline of the king about to happen? I've plumped today. The main pitcher that you want in your lineup is Jake Arrieta of the Chicago Cubs. Sets you back 11,100. He averages more than a strikeout per inning pitched, and his whip was below 1 last year as he won the National League Cy Young Award. He looked very good in his first start of the season, and there's no reason to expect his production to decline against the Diamondbacks, who are struggling, let's be honest, today. Looking for a value option at pitcher, Joe Ross Well, he's going to cost you 7,800 for Washington. He's close to a strikeout per inning pitched, and I think he's probably going to get the win today because I don't fancy the Marlins to produce much with Tom Kohler pitching. I think Washington will score some runs and will just, you know, hope that the bullpen doesn't have an absolute mare, which they can do in Washington. For your foundation players today at first base, I've gone back to David Ortiz, which didn't work out for us well yesterday when he wasn't even in the lineup. He's 4,700 today. He's pitching Marco Estrada. Estrada had a good year last year, but the season before he led Major League Baseball in home runs allowed. Ortiz is 3 for 9 with 2 home runs off of Estrada. Off the day off, I think could be a good option for you at first base today. At second base, I've gone with Dustin Pedroia, staying with the Red Sox. I felt second base was a little bit of a black hole. It's hard to find value there today. I did consider Rougned Odor at Texas as well, but Pedroia is hitting 316 this year and is 3 for 8 off Estrada, which was about the best I could find at the top end of your second baseman today. At third base, Nolan Arenado, 4,900. He's got 3 career home runs off of Shields, who, as I've said, led the league last year and is pitching at Coors. Arenado is a right-hander against a right-hander and hasn't hit that well so far this year, but I'm willing to say that he could have a good day against Shields today. Shortstop, I did struggle with an elite option here as well, so I've gone with my standard play when that happens. Carlos Correa of Houston for 4,900. So he's consistent at the end of the day. He's hitting 350 and he's had 3 home runs this year already. Correa, I think, is about as consistent as you'll get. He's the same price as Trevor Story, who, let's be honest, is leading the league in home runs, but he didn't have such a great night last night, so that's tipped the scales to Correa for me. In the outfield, Bryce Harper in Washington was 4,900 yesterday, and they've gone and put his price up. I thought 4,900 was great, and you had to have him in your lineup. I still think you have to have him in your lineup today at 5,300 against Tom Kohler, who doesn't seem to be able to pitch the Nationals well at all. Bryce has got 5 home runs off of Kohler in his career, and obviously he's the NL MVP. Bryce Harper's about as good as an option as you're going to find today in daily fantasy. For the value plays, catcher, Alex Avila of the Chicago White Sox is only 3,100. Obviously, we know that US Cellular Field's a great park to hit in. It's a nice matchup with a lefty against a righty, and he's got 2 career home runs off Josh Tomlin in his career. At first base, I've gone with Ryan Zimmermann of the Washington Nationals. He's only 4,000. He's 6 for 20 with a homer off of Kohler, who, as I've already said, struggles when he pitches in Washington. My second baseman today, I'm going back to Brandon Phillips of Cincinnati. He's 3,300. He's got a nice matchup with a lefty on a righty. And he's hitting 333 this year with a homer. And he does sometimes run, so you have got some stolen base potential against an average left-handed pitcher. The third baseman is Cory Spangenburg of the San Diego Padres. He's 3,500. He hit his first homer last year. He's got a nice matchup against Chad Bettis of the Colorado Rockies, who did struggle in his first start, and obviously we're playing at Coors Field, so there is that potential for the home run that gets escalated that much by playing at altitude. My shortstop today is Zack Cozart of Cincinnati. He's only 3,400. We know again that that's a nice park to hit in. It's another lefty-righty matchup for a Cincinnati shortstop who's hitting 417 and does have a career home run off of Locke, who will pitch for Pittsburgh today. Staying in that match but switching teams in the outfield, I've gone with John Jaso of Pittsburgh. He's 3,500. He's hitting at the top of the order for the Pirates, and he's pitching against the starting pitcher today that had an ERA above 4 in the minor leagues last year and will be making his debut, which is exactly the sort of thing you don't want to be trying to have on your side. You want to be facing that, really. So I think Jaso could be a reasonable value in the outfield for you today in your lineups. That's all I have for you today, so the best of luck to you, and I'll see you tomorrow.